Eazl.
All right, cool. So I like to start these off just asking a little bit about your background. So could you tell us who you are and what your background is?
Sure. Hi, I'm Nick Livingston, co-founder and CEO of Honeit. I've spent about 10 years in the human resources industry, well, in particular recruiting and corporate talent acquisition. I started on the agency side and then moved in-house working at large organizations like MTV Networks, and then most recently hyper-growth technology firms here in the Bay Area, like TubeMogul, and helped them grow from 60 to 360 employees in just a couple of years.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So I have one of the first questions on my mind was just like, what do you think is the difference between technical and non-technical interviewing for candidates that are interviewing for these more technical positions?
Well, I think any technical roles, and this could be in finance, this could be in engineering or product. I think the hiring manager is looking at people's problem solving abilities, and because a lot of times they're looking for people who can figure things out, and whether that's coding something that's never been built before, or whether that's kind of re-engineering an existing process to be more efficient or more beneficial to the company. Looking for the minds that can help connect the dots to a new solution. And so I think technical interviews in particular, whether it be coding exercises or whiteboarding, they're looking for people that can break down a problem and elegantly speak through a solution. And even if it's not the right solution in the confined time limits, looking for someone who can take what they've given, speak through an elegant solution, and if there's a change or something, a curveball in the question, that they can use that information, incorporate that into their model, and then provide an update to whatever solution that they recommended.
Cool. And then what do you think there's anything different about people who are looking to get started in sort of more technical careers? I mean, who don't have, for example, I don't know, a big code base to show or a lot of projects to show?
Yeah, I think one of the benefits to folks interested in transitioning into a career in, say, engineering or web development is that there are a lot of resources out there available, and even if your day job may not be coding, you have the ability, if you're interested and passionate about making that transition, to hone your skills, to learn some of those tools and technologies on the side. I think employers are hesitant to take a risk on hiring someone who hasn't shown enough initiative to do that on their own. They don't want to be the company that teaches you everything from scratch, but they do want someone with a good foundation that is willing and able and motivated to learn and evolve. And so I think a junior or a recent graduate or a new coder who's transitioning from maybe a different career path, they need to overcome the gap that is, we know you're new, we know we're open to training and investing in our employees, but we want to make the right bet. And if you think about it that way, you need to be able to convince the hiring manager or interview team that you've got a good foundation, you've got some of the fundamentals, but more importantly, you've shown that you have you've gone above and beyond, you've stayed up at night, you've got this lab at home, and you've done what you can with the tools available to you to maximize that. So
you want to show that you have learned things, but also that you've built things. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, I mean, I think every recruiter is excited when they see on a resume a link to a lab, right? That someone has their day job and maybe they're coding something that isn't so sexy. They're working at a large organization where they're focused on a very particular thing. But if they've got this portfolio at home with a lab that shows that they're exploring new technologies, that they've dabbled with, Python or Ruby on Rails or any of these kind of new technologies, even if it's outside of their day-to-day technology, that's the kind of engineer you're looking for, someone that's keeping an eye on the next tools and technologies that are going to make that organization successful and more scalable.
That's really rad. I remember this from our previous conversations that we didn't record, which was about you love this lab. You love when people have a lab.
Well, that's the benefit. I mean, a resume. You look at a resume. It's from the dawn of time, people applying and interviewing, the resume is this static piece of paper which, has buzzwords and such. But, nowadays resumes are reviewed on computers, and a hyperlink can say so much more than the text on a resume, right? And so you've got, designers that showcase their Dribble and Behance profiles. That's their portfolio. You've got engineers that now link to GitHub. That's their real portfolio. One of the challenges we're finding is that there's a lot of other roles in an organization, marketing, operations, sales, where they don't have a portfolio, if you will, and a lot of their talents that they bring to a company are their communication and project management and some of these softer skills. And so one of the things we're doing at Hone It was trying to give a sounding board to other professionals to have a portfolio, if you will, to take employers to off their resume.
Cool. All right. Well, then that's a good segue then, because I wanted to give you a chance to tell people who are watching this about Hone It, what it's for, how they can take advantage of it.
Sure. So Hone It is a resource for job seekers who are active, or professionals who are in the middle of their career looking to make a transition. Maybe they're looking to change a role. Maybe they're looking to change an industry. Maybe they're changing location. Any one of those things alone can be very difficult in terms of a career transition. And many times we see job seekers doing more than just one of those at a time. So what we've built is a marketplace that connects job seekers with subject matter experts in marketing, finance, accounting, engineering, etc., that work at great companies. So we've got experts who work at Tumblr, at Uber, at Microsoft, at Salesforce, right, who make themselves available nights and weekends to do rigorous mock interviews to job seekers. And because these aren't tied to an actual job at their company, they're able to give real-time feedback, advice, after the conversation takes place. And so, job seekers, not only do they have access to these great working professionals who are hiring managers and interview all day at their day jobs, they get the career advice and the real-time interview feedback that you don't typically get as part of a real job application or job interview, because there's liabilities associated with HR. They don't want to tell you why you didn't get the job, and so it's difficult to improve your interview skills.
So it's a tool for improving your interview skills.
Yeah, not only is it a tool for improving your actual interview skills, what we do is after the conversation takes place, job seekers can extract highlights or excerpts from that live conversation and attach those answers to their Hone It profile, and attach that Hone It profile to their resume, their cover letter, even their LinkedIn profile, to say, hey, listen, you have my resume, but listen to me talking about Google Analytics. Listen to me talking about overcoming an objection from a customer. Listen to me answering a question from a rigorous mock interview about putting together a real-time programmatic media buy for a online client of ours.
Now, do you ever see any friction between recruiters who may have not heard about Hone It, who get a Hone It link from a candidate and say, what's this Hone It thing? And I don't know if I'm going to go check that out.
Well, we're actually providing a lot of value to recruiters. Recruiters spend 8 seconds looking at a resume to decide if they want to invest another 20 minutes, and that 20 minutes would be by the form of a phone interview. The problem is phone interviews they take time, and you can only do so many in coordination. And so what we're giving is a chance for a recruiter to hear within 30 seconds the enthusiasm, the passion, the soft skills that they really want to understand from a particular applicant without having to invest 30 minutes of time talking to that person.
So maybe, just coming from my experience, where it's hard to get recruiters' attention, to get their bandwidth, do you think that maybe this is a good tool or a good part of your profile to showcase once you're sort of in a networking situation where you actually have a way to message, for example, a recruiter directly and say, hey, this is my Hone It portfolio. You might not be familiar with it, Hone It yet, but it's a really cool way to get to know me a little bit more in depth without having to actually interview me or something like that.
Exactly that, and also we talked about being in a career transition. If you're looking to change anything about, if you're looking to do something different than what you've done exactly before, this is that platform where you can be proactive and get in front of those known weaknesses or known gaps to say, hey, listen, yes, I've been a marketing manager in the pharmaceutical industry. I'm really passionate about getting into advertising technology and want to be a marketing manager there. This is what I've done to learn about ad tech. These are the events I've gone to. This is my daily blog read. You can articulate that at the beginning of the process because a recruiter is going to look at your resume and say, oh, no ad tech or no industry X, B pile.
Yeah, totally. And then, so yeah, the one thing I was wondering also, Nick. So then, like, is there anything that you would want to like? Do you tweet? You know, do you I don't know, anything like that? Do you let people know what's going on in your head in the world of job hunting and career and stuff?
Yeah, I'm trying to get better at that.
Okay.
It's interesting. There's a lot of career advice out there, right? I think what we're trying to do though is make it a bit more realistic and more modern, and rather than hearing it from a career coach or a career counselor, we want to give it, job seekers the ability to hear that from someone who is a hiring manager during the day, from someone who does interview at top flight in companies, who have a very high bar for talent. And if the conversation through Hone It goes well with these experts, that expert can then recommend you to work at Uber, to work at Tumblr, etc. So it could be that chance while it's not an interview at one of those companies, it's a chance to to go through the ringer. And if you perform well, not only can you leverage the answers that you give well on your Hone It profile, but you could also have a good impression with the decision maker at one of those firms.
Cool. All right, sweet. Well, thanks for taking the interview, Nick. I know that people will appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity.